Why are you stuck after this breakup? Maybe it's been months, maybe it's been weeks, and you can't stop thinking about your ex. You're talking with your friends, they are telling you to move on. You know you should move on, but still, you can't stop obsessing about your ex. You can't stop watching their stories, wondering if they are dating someone. In other words, you're stuck. And because of that, you can't move forward. In this video, I want to share with you how you can start healing today. I'm a relationship therapist, and my job is to help, I do that every day, is to help people healing after a difficult breakup. So I'm going to share with you what I do with my clients, the protocol, the methodology that I use, so you can apply this and finally move forward, because I don't know any of my clients who didn't manage to heal and move on after a breakup. It's just a question of methodology. It's just a question of focus. It's not a question of weather, it's not a question of character, it's not a question of attachment. It's a question of actions, and during the right actions, making or creating the right environment for you to finally heal and move forward. So what happens in your brain when you break up? There's this stress response that's triggered. Rejection is seen from the point of view of the brain as physical pain. And the amygdala, which is responsible for the emotional response, feels overwhelmed. You're triggered. In other words, you're triggered. What happens when you're triggered is you have the stress hormones that will distort your memory, so the cortisol. This is where you would not necessarily feel yourself. Maybe you're gonna have a hard time sleeping, eating, you won't be able to focus, and you're thinking, I'm crazy. And so usually the symptoms of this experience will differ, and over time you'll feel a little bit better, but even months after the breakup, you might feel this way. And probably you're watching this video months after this breakup and you feel, I'm crazy. No, you're not crazy. You're dysregulated. The whole point of, or what's preventing you from moving forward, is finding ways to self-regulate this nervous system. If you manage to regulate this nervous system, you won't have any more of those experiences and you'll be able to move forward. Now, the thing is, you can read books about this, and I'm going to explain how it works, but the logic, in a way, doesn't work. And that's why friends and families are extremely helpful in terms of supporting emotionally. They're here to listen, they're here to help you, but they will always tell you, oh, but you'll find someone else. They will, at some stage, 2 or 3 months usually after a breakup, they will feel, okay, I've listened to you for 2 or 3 months. I expect you to feel better. And they will tell you, oh, but he or she was not good for you. You were not happy. You don't want to take back someone who's been abusive or difficult. Then they will be able to list all the negative traits, but that won't help you to move forward. So they will use logic, but that's not logic that will help you. The starting point, and that's where there's always the limit of how you can get help with friends, is that the work has to be done inside. And it's not your friends, it's not even your therapist who can help you do this, it's only you. So in a way, that's a bit overwhelming and daunting, because you feel like, oh, well, I thought I could have a shortcut of, just give me a pill, I'll feel better. But in a way, you are in charge and you can control it. And as I said, there are ways, just a question of applying the methodology. So I'm going to list out 3 mistakes people make usually after a breakup. The first one is you ruminate for clarity. You're obsessed about seeking those answers, seeking that closure. You're stuck in what we call analysis loop. It's a term developed by, not by me, but by Professor Zech. I don't know if I pronounce it well. Correct me if I'm not. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at your phone and the pictures and look in and the should have and the could have. The problem is that when you're thinking about those things, you won't have any answers, right? And a lot of people, when they call me in the first session, there'll be a lot of questions about trying to understand what happened, which is fine. But then if they ask me the same question on the second session, which is usually the case, it's a case of like, you need to let go of this. You won't get any answers, neither from me, neither from yourself. There are things you won't have answers to. And this element of rumination will stop you, will block you from healing. Right now you feel like you're in the fog, you're confused, and you're obsessed about gaining that clarity. But the problem is that that methodology that you're using to get that clarity is the wrong one. Because you're asking questions, you're looking for data you can't get. So you need to accept, and it's a process, that you need all the answers for you to move forward. That you need to understand their psychology. That you need to understand their motives. At the end of the day, so again, I get why you seek for clarity, because you don't want to make the same mistakes in the future. But at the end of the day, there's plenty also of facts that you can analyze. The way they treat you, the way they talk to you, their behaviors after the breakup, right? And that's the thing you need to focus on rather than the should have, could have. Thoughts that are keeping you stuck. So that's the first mistake, is ruminating for clarity. And usually just if you unblock this, moving on will be very easy. Mistake number 2, depending on your attachment, is chasing or cutting off too fast. So if you have an anxious attachment style, is to chase the partner, is to get that validation. Because in a sense, you feel like, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, I feel lonely. My partner would give me that sense of reassurance. My ex would give me that sense of reassurance. For avoidance, it's more of like, I'm blocking. Oh, it's too much for me. I don't want to feel the pain. And I'm going to distract myself and I'm going to focus on work. You have to understand that both are coping mechanisms and that are based on fear. They're not based on progress. They're not based on growth. So if all your actions, everything that you do, all your thoughts are based on the fear of, or escaping the fear, the pain, you won't get the right outcome. So again, there's always this battle between the nervous system and what's helping you cognitively. If cognitively is a word, but you get me. The nervous system is like fight or flight. We need to escape. We need to ease the pain. But the cognitive element is like, okay, what do I need to move on? And the problem is that sometimes the nervous system will take control of your actions. That's why emotional regulation, be emotionally grounded first, is what will help you to gain that clarity that we discussed in number 1. The work around attachment wound is essential if you have insecurities, because they will distort how we perceive things. If you have insecurities, whether it's an avoidant or an anxious attachment style, your nervous system will be hardwired to replay those scenarios, right? And the problem is that unless you heal those wounds, you're gonna get triggered. You're gonna feel this way. And the coping mechanism will be the same. And you're in that loop. Okay? The idea here is like, how can I move forward or move upward? Right now, everything that I described is forcing you to stay in that loop. So the point is pausing, processing. Yes, you have wounds. We all have wounds. The problem is recognizing that you're acting out of those wounds, being aware of those wounds, and doing the work to cognitively, again, I don't know if it's an English word, reframe those processes in your brain. Number 2 is keeping the inner work. The temptation is, okay, we broke up, I'm in pain, it's just a question of finding another relationship or get back with my ex. Then I won't feel lonely anymore. The problem is 99% of the time, that healing comes within yourself. Those answers will come within yourself. It's quite likely, that what caused the breakup, the patterns, the unconscious drivers, will repeat themselves again in the next relationship. So if you don't do the work, if you don't pay attention to this, you will get the same outcome again and again. So whether it's about creating that sense of safety, whether it's about building trust, whether it's about building confidence, the problem is that if you don't use this breakup to finally heal, to learn more about yourself, guess what? You're going to start next relationship. Yes, the partner will be different. Yes, he'll be maybe more understanding, maybe more secure, but I can guarantee you that you're going to end up in the same way you are right now. So the point is like learning and reframing that attachment, because that will give you that long-term effect, long-term freedom. The point here is about finding or reconnecting with yourself. Usually what people experience after a breakup is they lose themselves. They lost themselves in the relationship. And now you have no other option than to reconnect with who you are. Reconnect with your beliefs, with your fears, with what makes you anxious, with what makes you happy. Now, see your life as a blank piece of paper. Get rid of the past, or analyze and reflect the past, and write your own story. That's why I love helping people in that phase in their lives, is because you can write your story right now. I'm basically giving you the tools. It's just a question of you to do it. I can't do it for you, but it's giving you the tool, processing things, keeping stuff that you want to keep, letting go of the things that are not helping you, and writing your own story. If you're stuck, it's not your fault. And then you're dysregulated. There's something in your brain telling you fight or flight, it's scary. And therefore, the coping mechanism, which is something you developed when you were young, when you were a kid, is usually not the one that helps you as an adult. So there's an understanding of attachment, an understanding of the patterns on your identity. The point is, all these processes that I described can be rewired. And now with the progress in neuroscience, neurobiology, with cognitive therapy, it's a question of just doing it. That's not a question of whether you can do it. And again, there's plenty of studies saying we are not bound by our attachment, neuroplasticity, etc., etc. The point is, again, this is your time to do the work. Most people don't know where to start. Most people don't know the structure. Maybe you're seeing a therapist and they're helping you to learn about your childhood, to learn more about some of your insecurities. But I know, because I've been in your shoes, if you see a therapist, sometimes it lacks the structure, the drive, the context. And if you're watching this video, I guess you're eager to learn. Now, learning is great, doing is better. So I put together a course called Reconnect to help you do the work. It's basically something that I use with my clients. So there's 9 modules to really help you cover all the angles and help you do this work. Shifting from, okay, I'm stuck, I don't know where to start, I don't know whether I should move on, I don't know whether I should get back with my ex, to a place where you have that clarity. Again, you're gonna write your own story this way. I'm just kind of a writing coach, helping you to write your story. I'm gonna give you basically all the placeholders in a way, and you have to write the story. Right, you are the main character in your story. I'm just helping you to structure this story, right? Because right now it's like, oh, yeah, what should I do? It's overwhelming. There's conflicting thoughts. There's what people say, what people do, my therapist, my friends. Clear the air. Look at the Reconnect course. Have a look. It's something, it's my best-selling course because it's so helpful, because you can really get that transformation and that clarity very early on. You don't have to wait 2 years of therapy. It's a question of, again, investing in yourself, investing your time, doing the work, and you'll see, you'll be thankful that you joined this course. If you have any question on this, let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Take care.